Okay, great. We are recording now. I will minimize this so we can see the entire desktop. And I'm going to just put that in the background. And I'm going to go to my website here. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Stephen Burns. And gosh, let me kind of share with you how I even got involved with the convention. Here's my website, chromevolution.com. Everybody has promo cards for this. And to start my presentation off, I want to thank Wonderfest and its entire crew for having me come here every year to do these presentations. The world's changing as we just finished, as we started talking, and you guys are scratch builders. And one thing I enjoy about this convention the most, because I speak at other conventions, I speak at San Diego Comic Con every year, LA Comic Con, WonderCon, and I enjoy Wonderfest the most because unlike the cons, the comic cons, everybody here is a builder. Everybody here are artists doing the craft that they come here to learn, and everybody's really ambitious about upping the ante on what they're doing as a creative. So I figured I have something to share here. So on my website, you're going to find a gallery. You're going to find some of the digital artwork that I do, kind of give you a better idea who I am. These are digital paintings that I created, and this is all hand-drawn creations. All right, I'll come over here. I'll go back to the little gallery, but these are all hand-drawn in Photoshop. Others are digital creations done inside of Photoshop. If you go back to the gallery, we've got photographic art prints. You'll see that my career as a photographer, where it has taken me. So I do workshops that go to Yosemite, they go to Death Valley, they go to Eastern Sierras. So I take photographers on photography, their classes. They're there to improve your composition, your eye, and your artistic ability. Then I do the 3D stuff here. Okay. So things done in Blender, right, to create illustrations. So for example, let me show you a quick example. Here's one. The man is sculpted in Blender, all right? And I might show a little bit of that in the next class coming up, all right? Because that's kind of some of the fundamentals of Blender is that it can do sculpting. Some of you may have heard of the program called ZBrush. Blender is just as fast as ZBrush now. The new 5.1 release. Come join us. They've got a seat up here. Right, come up toward me here. Oh, you want to sit way in the back? I'm watching him. And all the ones sitting in the back is kind of like, okay, what are they up to? That's exactly. That's where the all bad kids want to go. The cool kids. um. So here's a latest piece done in Blender, and this is also sculpted for a 3D print. So let me click on a larger view. This one I call Tied to the Abyss. Currently showing in some competitions in galleries. So, all right. So just to give you just a little more information about myself, I'm an author. If I you go to the About, and you can always look at About Stephen later, but if you go to Published Books, these books are internationally published. They're in the bookstores, and they started off with Photoshop, but basically every one of the books include Photoshop illustrations that includes 3D, and everything here is integrated with 3D in some capacity. So I've always been involved with 3D for a long time. I started with Lightwave, was my original program of choice. That progressed over to Blender. So I have a question for you guys. My question is this. Um, what are you doing with 3D? What do you want to do with 3D? Come join us, a seat right up here front.
Gotta come heckle you, Steve.
That's right. Thank you. It's an honor to be heckled by you. I get this every year. Okay, so what do you guys do with 3D? Why are you here?
Yeah, but we all part of last year.
to do with
You forget what we learned last.
I forget what you learned last year. Yeah. So what have you heard about 3D in general?
So I have a 3D printer,
Right? You have a 3D printer.
and I have models that I want to print on it, but sometimes I want to edit those models.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll use something like Tinkercad to try and edit those models, but I want to do more intricate edits. So then Tinkercad will allow.
All right. So basically, before 3D in digital or 3D printing, we augmented our models how?
Scratch building.
Scratch building and kit bashing. Kit bashing, right? So you buy other kits and I figured that out at an early age. I figured I was building Star Trek models and all types of sci-fi stuff, and I thought, you know what? I got extra parts left over. I can use this to kit bash something else, and I would build cool stuff. So now we can kit bash, and we can do it all ourselves. We can use our imagination, and I'm gonna show you a little bit of that today. All right, so modeling for model kits right here. Okay. Um, I'm going to show you some concepts, some things that I was hired to do for model kits. And I'm going to talk about the workflow. And I'm going to talk about the potential for you guys because I came to Wonderfest. I didn't know what Wonderfest was. This was before pandemic, and I was bought a 3D printer. An artist friend of mine talked me into buying a 3D printer. I was using Lightwave at the time. I took some models I was building in Lightwave, actually printed it out, and I was hooked. It's like, oh my gosh, my 3D vision can now come into the real world. I was hooked. So I started posting all these things on Facebook. And next thing you know, I was getting a myriad of messages of people hiring me to custom build parts for the Starship Enterprise for the 1350th build. So the warp nacelle end caps, basically these people wanted something different, right? They were bored with the old Starship Enterprise. So they said, Stephen, custom design the end caps on the Enterprise. And then they paid me for it and I sent it to them and I started seeing them showing up all over Facebook. I've got a bunch of other jobs from other people, and I didn't realize that the people I was working for were the board members of Wonderfest. And then they talked me into coming here. And I came here, did presentations like today, and then I proposed to them to do the 8-hour workshop. So I'm going to show you some of the warp nacelle stuff here. I'm in Blender. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about Blender. We'll go a little bit deeper into its functionality in the next class. But we got a chair up here. Come on, right here.
I'm just listening for that.
All right, okay, cool. You're gonna be hooked. So we got this interface which we can kind of basically just rotate around. It's 3D. Everything's 3D now. I can take whatever I build in here and export it out as what's called an STL file. It's called Standard Tessellation Language. All tessellation means is to triangulate the four point faces. All right. So um, you have your layers right over here in the top left right hand corner, but let's bring in something. I'm going to open up something, go to Control O, and I have the all in the cells end cap. So this is why I want to start the presentation off today. I hope I clicked the right thing. I did not click the right thing. So let me close it. I'll get another one. Let me go to open, and I must have model kits. There we go. I want that one. There. Okay. There we go. Okay. So if you have questions, stop me anytime and ask questions. We get a little bit of a dialogue going. Warp nacelle end caps. Now, I designed a whole bunch of different versions. So let me tell you what they're for. Everything's organized in layers. So if I click on each one, you'll see each one highlight with a bright orange around it, or I can directly click on them. They're designed in such a way so that this is going to fit right onto the 1/350th scale, warp nacelle and on the back. So the client says, Stephen, I want you to design this warp nacelle, but I want something completely different than all the other warp nacelles you've designed. I have the client mail me the model, right? So if you ever do something with somebody, have them mail you the actual model, and you're also going to buy calipers. So everybody's know what a caliper is. Who does not know what a caliper is? Okay, everybody's what calipers. Have calipers there. So you're going to measure them exactly how what you need to go on. And you need to accommodate it because you need these to fit on the end cap. So you may need these to be just slightly bigger. So you can just glue them right on there. Now I'm using my imagination as I create this. So I don't think I have my absolute originals. These are the three, the latest ones, but this is how it works. These are going to be printed in gray. If you look in the back, I designed them so that they're open and you can go right through there. Why? Why do you think I'm doing this?
Lighting.
Excellent. Lighting. Doing it for lighting. So when I'm designing anything, I'm always thinking about ways. Sometimes I don't always think of everything. Sometimes a client I show it to a client and he goes, "No, it would be really cool if you did this." That's your marching orders to get it done, right? It'll be really cool if you put extra windows here, or in that engine back there, you can actually put lights in there. That's your marching orders to go in and make it happen. So, because if the client is thinking that way, that means the community is thinking that way. So here is the warp nacelle. It's going to be in gray. It'll be printed in gray. Doesn't matter if it's filament print or resin print. This, however, will not be printed in gray. This will be printed in clear because I did this solid and the client says, wouldn't that be cool if that could light up? So I printed it in clear and I designed it so on the back side it would connect right on top of this. Does that make sense? And then this warp nacelle is the exact dimensions I need to fit right on the end of the 1/350th scale Enterprise, and it fits perfectly. All right, so here's another one, another design right here. This one a little different because, as you can see, it's a little bit of a change in the configuration on the inside. It's completely open because the ball here, and if I, rotate that around, this will print it in complete clear. This ball will now sit on top of this. This will be glued on to the back of that. See? So I'm always thinking to make it really easy for the client to actually, paint and put together their parts. And this was a little easier. This is probably one of my favorite ones here. Right? So way different design. If I click on this one here, way different design. We look on the back. This one has lights coming around the sides, including one coming straight up the tube so that it can light up this this piece here, which is going to be what was that?
The shroud and the engine.
Yes.
Cool.
So this will be in clear, and even though that's going to glow, right? And you can and basically the client can put color cellophane in there to actually light this up different colors, right? So if you want the warp nacelles to be red or blue or yellow, you can do that. All right. So and then in the same thing on the inside, you have a different color lights coming around the side. So it gets to a really, really cool effect. All right. So there we go. So let's go explore some other possibilities. Let's go open and let's do the Buck Rogers. And I've got the Buck Rogers, let's see, the beginning stages. I'm going to start there and then we're going to go over and I'm going to show you the completed piece. So, does everybody know the company that actually makes the Buck Rogers Starfighter? It's the resin cast and it's molded from the original model on set. I w- what was that?
I don't know the company.
Don't know the company? Okay. All right. So um, gosh, I don't remember the name. Okay, I remember a little bit. But anyways, I was hired to build the cockpit because in the series you don't ever see inside the cockpit of the starfighter. And for payment, for half the payment, they gave me one of the original resin kits, molded from the original model. So what I did was I photographed it from the top. Right, if I hit the 7 key on the keyboard, I'm gonna go to the top view, orthographic view, and if I hit the 3 or the number 1 actually, you get the side view. I'm gonna hit Alt or Option and Z. It goes to X-ray mode so I can see through my shapes in relationship to the model. So in the model has very limited detail. So I had to figure out a way to build a cockpit and create the cockpit. I'm going to show you the finished cockpit in just one moment. Come join us. We have a seat right up here. Welcome. All right. So I started things off by basically making a simple cube to kind of map out the space I'm going to work in. I'm going to show you how it's done. Um, let's get out. Let's go to Alt and Z and go back to solid mode. So take a look at this. This you can model most everything out of a cube, and we'll talk more about that in the next presentation. But it's a basic cube made a little bathtub shape just to kind of get an idea where things are, and then use some of the existing details in the model to create a division for a back seat and a forward seat. So this is where it starts. All right, now I'm going to show you where it ends, how it was completed. Go ahead, Control O. Don't save this one. Buck Rogers cockpit. Let's go to. Okay, we'll get a little deeper into here.
You had a creative design over this?
This is my design.
That's what I said. You had total
Yeah,
creative design.
yeah. Most of the clients will ask me to give me total creative license. So this is my personal design. I just look at a lot of different sci-fi cockpits online. So this is what I'll do. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do. I'll come over here, and now we got AI, right? So AI can definitely assist you in this. So I'll come over and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to say, give me like a sci-fi. I did landing gear because that was my class yesterday. Sci-fi cockpit, right? Oh, it's cockpit. I can't even spell today. Okay, I can't even type today. It's a problem. Okay, and I'll go to images, and I'll just look at all different. I just started looking at all different types of cockpits, and I would think about how I might want to. I'll take from some of these and figure which ones I like, which ones I didn't like, and just start pulling things together. I never know where the piece is going to end up in the end. I'm just going to play, throw things together, and see what happens. I'm constantly listening to my heart. I love this idea for some of the seating concepts, um, and I like this some of this idea for some of the paneling, for the front. So this ship, Eric Gonzalez did the post processing, but I had Eric Gonzalez build the starfighter last year, and it entered it in competition with the cockpit. He lit up the panel, he lit up the ship. It got silver last year. So let's go back to Blender. So I'm strategizing, right? So I'm going to move this around. It's going to kind of move it out a little bit. See, there's my little paneling up here, right? So I'm constantly trying to be as creative as possible. And I'm getting close. You can kind of see all these little dials and buttons. And we're going to talk about, techniques for doing this. But for right now, you can see these are all different types of geometry, all pieced together. The chair, I just custom created it, right? Custom created it using a box. But everything was built within that format of that original cube with the bathtub indentation in it, right? It's all from that shape. So that square piece that was in the middle, that's what this became, right there. All that detail. The flooring, I just kind of added some interesting gridding pattern because it just looked interesting. I extruded all these details outwards to resemble a handle. Knobs and panels was pretty simple. All right. So I tell you what, I'll give you um, a quick example of how I might actually create one of these panels, just real fast. So let's go to File menu. Let's go to New, because this will be fun. Don't save that. Oops. I want to go File New. Doesn't matter. I can go back to General. Okay, so 2D. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a simple little panel. So I'm going to go to Blender and say, Shift A and give me a primitive. The panel is going to be a plane, just like this. Just stupid, simple little plane. Okay, we're going to put some knobs on this panel. All right, so Shift A, we'll go and get a primitive. We'll say, okay, the knob is going to be a cylinder like this, but cylinder is too big. Hit the S key. We can bring the S key down, make it a little smaller, because this is going to be a knob, right? There's going to be some type of a knob on here. I'm going to take the knob. I'm going to go to the top view, orthographic view, go to my move tool, and I'm going to say I'm going to move this knob right down here. I want multiple knobs, right? But I'm going to add a little detail to this knob. And hit the period key. I'm going to rotate it around and go to edit mode because we want to actually do something to this. So edit mode, I want to bevel this a little bit, something like that, kind of make it look like a little bit of a knob. Maybe if I grab all these in here, I can add like a little bit of extra detail like this on the knob, and I can kind of come over and say, okay, kind of bring them out a little extra detail like that. Or maybe I can come over here and do something like this. I key and set it like that. Come over here and pull it out like that to, add a little detail. Isn't that fun? And then I'll go back to object mode where I can do my, see, look, now it's like a cooler looking knob, right? Well, I can add a modifier to this. Go to the modifier right over here. Add a modifier. I'll say I want to go to generate, and I want to generate an array modifier, and I can get several knobs. Blender does it on the heart, right, on the fly. I want more knobs, okay? So not enough. So add a little more, then more, a little more. I want a little space in between them. Come over here and give a little bit of space, kind of like that. Okay, and then I'm saying, okay, you know what? Maybe I want just a little more detail on that knob, right? So I'll just get in close, come over to here, go to edit mode, and I'm gonna select all and just zoom in close to that knob. I'm gonna say, okay, I want to get over here. I want to add one more little detail. Now check this out. I want to go kind of go like this so you can see everything here. And I'm going to grab just that top face. I'm going to create a little bit of an inset, and then I'm going to say E key, extrude it all out, right? So they all happen all at one time. It's that repetitive detail that's great for sci-fi. All right, so we're done with the knob. So we want like some type of a monitoring panel of some sort. So we'll go back to object mode. We're going to add one more object, but this time we're going to add like a cube, like this. Okay. That cube is inside, and I didn't mean to do that, so I'm going to undo it real quick, and I'm going to get out of here and go to object mode. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to add a cube. So Shift A, mesh, make it a cube, too big, bring it down. We're going to make probably two monitors. We'll make one, make it about yay big, so to speak. Get in close. All right, and let's go and edit on the inside. Go to edit, go to my scale and say I want to scale it a little more like this, right? And I might want to add a bevel. So Control B again, add a little bevel, and then go to my scroll wheel and add a nice little curvature right over there like this. And then let's go to the inside, I key in, E key extrude, and if I want to go around the edges like so, Control B, boom, boom. Okay, we got a monitor. Get out of here, object mode, time is money. Put one here, add a modifier of array, generate array, but this time I just want one. And go to the factor on the x, it's arraying it on the x-axis. There's X, Y, Z, red, green, and blue. Move it on over like that, and we're starting to make a little panel. And if we add some buttons up here, which is really easy to do, we can, switch buttons. We can add more details, and it'll start to look like a panel that you can inset into the cockpit of your spaceship. That makes sense? Let's go see something else. See something more exciting. Um, let's go to something that you guys know who John Eves is? Everybody knows John Eves? Okay. All right, so John, good friend of mine, said, Steve, model this for Comic Con. So he sent me his 2D drawings. His 2D drawings look like 3D drawings because he's mastered 2D painting. So let's see. We've got all the cells, impulse. Actually, before I do that, let me show you something else. Um, Here is one you're gonna love. Okay, two of them. I got three of them I want to show you instead. Actually, this is an impulse engine drive for the 1/350 scale Enterprise. So this, if you can see it, this will slide into the back of the Enterprise. You can look at the little bevel cut that matches the bevel shape of the saucer section. It slides in on top of where the original impulse engines are supposed to go. Sits right on top of it. Those holes where the original impulse engines will slide into, you bring wires through. This will be lit up. Add in some red cellophane with your LED lights coming through. This lights up. Then another thing that lights up is the impulse crystal right there. Okay, so if you can imagine this, and I apologize, I don't have the original model of the saucer section that I had here. Um, I accidentally deleted it and brought the wrong file, but imagine the original saucer section on here and this connecting to it, and it's all proportional. So if I 3D print this out, it matches, it'll fit right onto the saucer section. So you're always thinking about your client, and this will fit seamlessly onto the saucer section. So the client sent me the saucer. I built it. The first two weren't successful. I had to go in and do some modifications. This one came out perfect. And as you can see here, these little greeblies, kind of similar to what I just showed you when I put in the dials and the monitor on that plane. These little greeblies that I created. And I'm going to show you some other kit bashing ideas that's going to really help you with your models, because there are free kit bashing 3D parts out there you can download for free, bring it into Blender, and you can start putting it on your models.
So you can import SDLs into Blender and modify them.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it was different file
You prefer,
formats.
I prefer, it's better you don't do that. I'll tell you why. Okay. STL files is triangulated information. I'll give you an example in just one. I think I'll do it right. I'll show you one real quick for those who may not be as familiar. I'm going to import Blender file menu, import, and look at my formats: OBJ, USD, STL, FBX, BVH. Some of these you may not recognize, but most of you should recognize STL. I think I've got an STL in here. Let me go to Blender projects and let's go down to the Wonderfest 2026 for the model kits. FBX. Oh, you know what? It's the FBX. I don't have an STL in here, but
Yeah, if you go up before you have an STL export.
ah, there it is. There they are. Foot pin shin. Okay, this is from yesterday's class, but this will be good enough. We did some landing gear, articulated and landing gear yesterday for class. So this is the STLs from yesterday. So I'll go to the thigh. We go to the thigh. Go to the foot. We go to the foot. Double click it and bring it in. Okay. Okay. So we did a foot for landing gear. Just something simple. Now we're in object mode. Two modes in Blender. One for animating, which is this mode. One for modeling. We go to Tab key, go to Edit mode, and see everything's triangles. That's tessellation. It's not ideal to edit STLs. It's better to edit quads. If in the event you have an STL, say you downloaded it from Thingiverse or some 3D site like that, we got a chair up here if you want, right up near me. Follow my voice.
Thank you.
Yep,
Sorry to
that's all. That's all right. For your punishment, you got to stay for the next class.
I might be presenting that one actually.
Presented, I think I got them back to back.
Oh, I'm at three.
I'm at I'm 11 to 12 and then 12 to 1.
Okay, cool.
So now you can relax.
Thank you.
I'm going to stay for your class definitely. You're doing the 3D printing class, right?
No, the reverse engineering the Millennium Falcon.
Ooh, that would be fun. All
Using
right. Using 3D?
oh yeah, photogrammetry.
Oh, we got to watch that. Definitely got it. We got to see that. That would be a cool class. Okay, so it's tessellated, right? See all this extra geometry in here and all these lines. You don't want all that mess. It's tessellated files is a big hodgepodge of a mess. It's great for 3D printing, but it's a mess. You want to work with quads always, and we'll talk more about that in the next class. But what I yeah,
File converter that you can change.
you can do it in Blender, right? So if I go to, I can do point editing mode where all my points are selected. I can go to edge editing mode where I can select the edges, or I can go to face editing mode where I'm selecting the faces. I'm going to hit the A key to select all the faces, and I believe it's under faces and triangles to quads right there. So if you, in the event, get something from a client that's all they've got, you're not going to get anything more than that, then this is a way to deal with it. So hit the triangle to quads, boom. It did an okay job. It's not too bad. It did an okay job. But here's the problem I'm seeing. I want everything as quads. I've got a triangle. I can deal with that. Watch. Right? So watch. I'm going to get in close. I'm going to go to edge editing mode. If I take a look at this, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and that can be a quad. I don't need that edge, right? So select that edge. I'm going to rotate it around, hold the shift key, and select that edge as well. Okay? And now I'm going to delete it. The way you delete in Blender is you don't delete it. We're going to call it dissolve. In other words, if I delete it right now, hit the X key and say delete that edge, boom. That's what happens, right? All right? Frustrating. So what you want is this. Add control to your X command. Control X dissolves. Done.
I imported some STL files, little models, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to modify them, and of course they're all triangle. And you sit there and you pick an edge, try a dot, you delete it, and half your model
Yeah,
disappears.
exactly right. And here's another problem right here. Grab that edge, rotate it around, gonna pull it back a little bit, shift select that edge, control X, gone. Now you got quads. You got 4-point faces, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you double click it, you got an edge loop, not edge loop, but a face loop. This is what you want. Those loops are a good thing. Right? You're finding out you're not getting loops. That means you've got some what's called an n-gon, which is something that's more than 4-point faces, which you want to avoid as much as possible. Okay, and why? Because when you 3D print something for your current kits, most of your plugins are not plugins, but modifiers will work absolutely fine with quads, but may have problems with n-gons. So keep that in mind. All right, let's get out of here. Let me go over here and show you the Greebly stuff.
Now, if you would save that, does it change the file type?
You can save it to whatever you want. For example,
No, from an ST.
oh, if I save this here,
Yeah.
you can save it to whatever format you want. For example, in Blender, if you go to Save As, right, it's always going to save it as a blend file. If you want to save it as another format like OBJ, export, file, export, and there are all your different format, OBJ, STL, FBX, whatever you want, GTL for the gaming industry. Blender is powerful. Let me share this with you real quick. I'm the lead Blender instructor at Studio Arts in Los Angeles. Studio Arts is a training institution for 10-year seasoned professionals in the industry. Most of my students, here's my spring classes here. If I click on the spring classes, there's my Blender class 101. It's an 8-week class. Anybody can sign up for this, by the way. You don't have to be an industry professional, but most of the people are. Most of my students are Maya professionals switching over to Blender. Blender's taking over the market now. Why? Not because it's free, but because it's revolutionizing the 3D industry. It's powerful and fast.
People that make money off 3D aren't going to switch to a free tool just because it's free.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. When you're a professional, time is money and efficiency is so critical. And Blender has revolutionized all of that. Okay, let's go play. I'm going to cancel that there. I'm going to go to open. Control O, open, and don't save that. Ooh, want to see the Proteus? I'm the one that did the Proteus. If you guys been paying attention on Facebook. So I was hired to produce a mini sub, the mini Proteus sub. And there she is. Okay. There she is. Which I'll show you the detail inside. So this here will be printed all in clear. So let me select this and that. Pulls it up. That's all going to look. See, look at the little details in there. Took me forever to do this thing. So you guys better appreciate it. so so look at that detail all inside. So if we go, I think I've got them in organized. The Proteus top half right there. I've got them in folders. So if I turn that off, boom.
How many screenshots did you take of the movie to do that?
Let's see. Do I have hold on a second. Let me see if I have the reference files in here. Let me go here. And I think under D drive, Blender files, Proteus, and find a PR, there we Proteus. Yeah, reference, image references. There they are. View menu, extra large. And these are the images, these are the orthographic images that I use, the side view, the top view. I think there's a front view somewhere in here. Yeah, that one there. I use that as the top, side, front reference. And this was not easy to model. It looks really easy. I looked at that and said, oh, that'll be a piece of cake. I can model that, right? But there's some subtleties in here that just threw me off.
Did you have a scale?
Well, I didn't care about the scale. I mean, I had everything in proportion. As long as you have everything in proportion, the scale is whatever size you decide to make it in the end. So everything's proportionally correct. It's just there was these like this stuff here coming out, right? This here that pulls out of there, little subtle little tricks like that you got to figure out how to handle. Um, this was easy. This was basically just a cylinder with half of a circle. Okay, so that was easy. But the rest of this, it was tricky. It threw me off. I ended up stopping for a little bit because I figured, okay, what the hell? How am I going to handle this? You do everything in halves when you're modeling. You don't ever do the whole thing. So we're getting close. So it started with the general body. Now I had to figure out how I was going to split this up, right? How I was going to organize it where the bottom half is going to be one part of the model that's going to be printed, and the top half is going to be the second part of the model. I needed that because when you build for a kit, you got to make it easy for the client to paint this stuff. You can't just enclose it off because you're being an asshole then. Right? You hate your client, close it off, and then figure out how to get in there.
That's one more. So how did you do the window mullions then? Is it two pieces or?
Oh, the top half, let's see, between that back, this here.
Yeah.
No, I modeled it out. I sculpted it out. One is two pieces, but this was kind of sculpted out of here. So it was a little bit tricky. The windows, I let the client do that themselves.
The glass form.
Yeah, because that way they can get some type of a um, some transparent sheet of plastic and just mold it in there easily. All right, but the top dome, this whole piece here is printed in clear. A guy had one last year. They bought this model and display it, and you may see it this year again. And put in LED lights so that everything looks like it's rotating inside these cubes. Did a great job with it. But anyways, let's turn off that top half and look at the details on the inside for the model. I don't want the bottom half, I want the top half. There we go. Okay. So if we get inside now, um, the original movie and the model kit, the interiors are boring as hell. There's hardly anything inside. The floor is flat. Um, there's not a lot of detail, especially in the rear of the ship. So I added my 2 cents to it, which was added a lot of extra details. I'm going to show you the kit bashing stuff in just one moment, and that's how I did some of this here. Almost all of this I custom built in Blender, and the floor doesn't exist in the movie or the model. That's my concept for the floor, where this is actually textured. So that when you get the model, and actually you can get the model, this Proteus model is in booth 31 with David Rossler. So I've got about 8 of these there. So check it out. Go take a look at it in person. It's really impressive. So I added that detail, and it's a nice little visual interest that really added to the model. Yeah, this was fun. having to create the chair. I mean, it's like the chair kind of getting close to here, but I had to give it enough thickness because I knew that this is going to be a small model. This is going to be a 7-inch model. It's like this big. So I want to give it enough thickness so that there's some sturdiness to it in there, right? So you want to think about stuff like that.
Did you put in any draft angles so you could get it out of a mold if that's how it was being manufactured?
No, okay, you're saying if it's going to be manufactured?
Yes.
I'm not designing that way. I'm designing this where the manufacturing is going to be the final 3D print from resin.
Okay, got it.
From resin.
Understood.
Yeah, that's how I'm designing it.
Okay.
Um, I don't do casting, and 3D printing is getting faster.
Yeah. Some ways better. You can do forms that you could never.
Oh yeah, you can do anything you want in a 3D program, and it'll print, provided you understand how to use supports properly.
When you're designing, do you ever think about when you think about the scale, when it's reduced, how it's going to resolve into the scale that they want it in, how much detail is actually wasted because it can't be printed?
Okay, the question is, ask the question again.
Like the detail that you have, that you're designing in a scale that you can see.
Right.
And if you once you reduce that scale, is there a point to where you're putting in detail that will never resolve in the final print
Okay.
because you can't see it, or the printer is not capable of that kind of detail?
So his question is, am I ever concerned about putting too much detail in there that may never ever be seen because of the incapability of my printer to produce the detail? That statement is true for filament printers, not for resin. Not for resin.
There's no limit on fidelity.
I can print this Proteus this
25 nanometers?
I can print this Proteus this big, and the detail will hold.
I think
Literally.
the resolution on my resin printer is 25 nanometers or something like that. Micrometers. Sorry.
Micrometers, yeah.
Yeah, not
And you
nanometers.
and you
That's really small.
and you can go smaller. You can go into the software and tell it to go smaller.
But and it's only getting higher resolution
Yeah,
as the time goes by.
Yeah.
So even if today it wouldn't be able to,
right.
5 years from now it would be able to.
The resin printers are doing nothing but getting higher in resolution. So the printer I used to produce this one was an 8K. I've done a 4K printer and it did great, right? My 8K does phenomenally better, but now the common printer is 16K. So it's just getting better and better, higher resolution. So if you're doing resin, you don't have an excuse. Put the detail in, right?
Do you exacerbate the detail knowing that it's going to be a smaller print?
Yes, very good question. So in other words, these stairs, for example, I think on the actual model they're probably a little bit shallower. They kind of they moved in closer into the actual piece here, but I made it longer and a little bit bigger to accentuate so that it's always going to stand out visually. Um, that's a decision I had to make here on the floor. How large are these hexagonal holes going to be so that you can visually see that without a problem? So I made a good decision on this one. This one worked out great. So I wanted to make it look like it's proportional. So if somebody's sitting in a chair, their feet aren't going to fall in the hole. Right? So yeah, yeah.
I was looking at that and was figuring out how the top fit on, and I was wondering, how does somebody get in that chair?
How did they get in? They went in through to the top.
The top
Well,
is through
that's where the dome is, right?
Yeah, that's where the dome is.
Yeah.
That ladder there and the fact that he
And
just
there's
showed him.
armrest and
Isn't that how it works?
Gosh, how did they get in here? Was it through? I forget. I forget. I know we got the hatch in the bottom, which is not on this one. On the final piece, the hatch is there. This is one of the older
I
pieces
thought it
of.
was like it was hollow when they came up from behind, but I don't know. It's been a long
Oh,
time since it's been a long time since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time either. I was just sitting there looking at the bracelets and the armrest, and I know a dome goes on top, and it's like, how does the pilot or how does the person get into that seat?
oh, here it is, right here, there.
No, he's talking about actually get into the seat with all the bracing around the seat.
Oh, it comes down. I think it's
Oh,
like
really?
an. No. It's a ladder. It's a ladder. It's the ladder. It's right here.
But there's no hole in the deck there.
I'm sorry, I just saw that. And...
All right. Yeah, I think it's a ladder that I don't remember. Let me go up here. Let me take this off. Go to the top half. Take it off. I thought it was the ladder here, up to here.
There's no way to get through there.
Right, the
Yeah,
shell comes right down on that platform.
it does. It comes down right close to this. You know
Oh,
what?
I think I see. It looks like the chair can rotate, and you turn it sideways to slip under the rail.
I don't know.
Tell you what, I had to wiggle in
I,
the worst spots.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
Ophthalmologically.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
They built the ship around him, and he just had to sit there.
It looks great from one angle, from another, you're like.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, it doesn't matter. This as works in the movie.
Yep.
It made me watch the movie again.
And I even included, and a lot of the people love this part about the model, the ray gun. Right there. This isn't the final piece. This is the you can see that the steering wheel got knocked down a little bit, so I have to kind of take this and that and move it up out of the way a little bit more. You can see I've got all types of little hoses here. Okay. Let me show you another Control O. And this was a fun one here. So I was hired to do a Cleon battle cruiser. This one, I've got the mirroring command. It should be a mirroring command. With this selected, I'm going to go to a modifier here. So I want to mirror this to the opposite side of the wing. Modifier. And this is why you're only doing half the model. There, see? It says if I turn the mirror off and on, it's all non-destructive. So I'm only doing half of the ship. But you get to see all this is custom-made greeblies. Now let me show you real quick. I think they're FBXs. File, import, FBX. FBX kit bash. And this is greebly parts. Now you can buy these, right? You can buy these and you can use these on your to print 3D print them out to put them on your existing models. Just use your imagination on your existing models and or your 3D created models. But if you look at them, they're just simple shapes. They're just a bunch of cubes here, elongated cubes stacked on top of each other. A cylinder and cubes just placed strategically next to one another. So if you want to get real lazy, I recommend you learn Blender first, learn how to create your own greeblies. But if you take a look at these, this is a good exercise in understanding how these things are made. If you look at this is just a box indented in, and then a stretched cylinder, two stretched cylinders basically, a large cylinder, a smaller cylinder for pipes, and then cubes with indentations in them. You can learn to build your own, and then just create a file full of a bunch of kit bash stuff.
Whiskey stuff.
Yeah.
I,
All right. So, any questions?
How does this blender do with subdivision?
Excellent. Excellent. So in other words, let's make a new file. Tell you what, ask that question for the next class because that the next class is Blender fundamentals.
Got it.
Then we can get into all those little details
You're
like
talking
that.
about cut feet,
What was that?
cut and feet.
Yeah, cutting, subdividing. Welcome. Grab a seat. It's gonna be packed. So we got 5 minutes. So let's do a bathroom break. I'm going to stop the recording real quick.
Leave our bags here again. Off the beard.
Yep.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.